Hi and welcome to my channel. So as you know, the UK has so many different types of visas, and the more knowledge you can have of these different visas, the better you will be making decisions on the best visa to have for your own personal circumstances. It doesn't matter whether you're already in the UK or you're still out of this beautiful country. It's better to know as many visa types as possible so you can make informed decisions and informed choices for you, your dependents, and your family. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the charity worker visa. So how can you move to the UK as a charity worker? Look, as you know, or if you don't know, I'm telling you now, the UK is one of the top countries when it comes to charity work. The government gives a lot of funding, for charities. People in the UK also take charities very seriously, and so there's a lot of money that goes into the charity sector. And look, let me tell you, when you hear the word charity, don't be deceived in thinking that there's no money involved in this sector, because there's a lot of money involved. And look, you can move to the UK, from overseas as a charity worker. So in this video, I'm going to talk about, who is eligible to use this pathway, what are the requirements, so what exactly do you need, how do you apply, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, because as you know, there's no UK pathway that doesn't have any pros and cons, but it's about making sure that it is the best pathway for your own specific circumstances, your family, and your dependents as well. So if you're new to my channel, obviously you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, I do appreciate your time, and I hope that you're implementing all these things that I'm talking about, because look, I'm all about implementation. And so to help with that implementation, I have a newsletter where I send that info directly to your inbox about free visa, opportunities in the UK, any updates about, UK immigration services, the best career progression pathways in the UK, work from home jobs where you don't need those geographical boundaries. You don't need to even worry about visas whatsoever. You can do those jobs from anywhere in the world, and they're very, very highly paid, as well as, side business opportunities that you can do if you're already in the UK and earn a lot of money, so you can retire early and leave all of these rat race. So if you check the comment section below, you can join my newsletter. It's not going to take you up to 20 seconds to join that newsletter. All you need to do is drop your name and email, and you're part of the newsletter. Also, if you've got any questions you want to ask me, you can use the comment section below as I go along. But, if it's a private question, do use my newsletter as well, because it's got all my contacts. It's got my, you're going to see my email address. It's my WhatsApp contact number as well. So once you message me, obviously at some point, I'll make sure that I get to it and reply. So I hope you join that newsletter so that I can send those updates directly to your inbox without you relying on the YouTube algorithm. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you do want to hit subscribe right now. Turn on that notification button so you're the first to be notified every single time when I drop a new video on here on YouTube. Because like I've said, I'm all about implementation and helping you, understand better the UK visas that are available, how to move here quickly, easily, switch your visa if you're already in the UK. So like we're saying, charity, worker visa, it is a legit visa that you can use to move to the UK or switch if you're already in the UK. So you can apply. When it comes to who can apply, and actually one of the best things I like about this visa is that you don't need any certification, you don't need any experience, you don't need any degree, and you don't need Ielts to move to the UK as a charity worker. So there are no, there are no requirements in terms of you should have experience, you should have qualifications, you should have English, Ielts. There's none of that required for this visa, because obviously you'll be moving to the UK or switching your visa within the UK as a charity worker. So obviously it is your goodwill that is needed rather than any sort of qualification whatsoever. So in terms of obviously who, can apply for this visa, anybody in the UK or out of the UK can apply for this visa. There are no restrictions regarding that, so anyone can apply as long as you're interested. That's all you need. So that's the who. And then when it comes to and by the way, in case you're watching this and you're wondering who I am, so my name is Melvis. I'm an advanced nurse practitioner. I live here in England, so I work in the UK. I moved as a carer myself, working in a nursing home, and then I decided to progress to study nursing, because as you know, there are endless opportunities in the UK, even though nobody will dangle them in front of you, but you need to make sure that you're taking advantage of these opportunities. So that's what I did. And so I have a private career coaching service called Nursing Career Bootcamp, where I support nurses, carers, students, student nurses, prospective student nurses, anyone that is looking for UK visa sponsorship jobs in the UK whether you're already in the UK or you're still out, you know, my program can support you, give you that tailored, individualized, and personalized support that you need to make sure that, you know, you move to the UK ASAP, or you're able to switch your visa from within the UK. But most importantly, career progression. Because healthcare, let me tell you, has some of the best opportunities in the UK. Opportunities that you're 100% sure that you will get a job and you can progress and you can really excel and thrive if you follow this pathway, you know. So if you're keen on getting into healthcare or looking for healthcare jobs in the UK, because, you know, visas that are related to healthcare are the best visas to have in the UK right now. So moving as a carer, as a nurse, as a doctor, pharmacist, clinical, non-clinical healthcare jobs, those are the best visas to have compared to any other UK visa. They enable you to come with your family and all of that. So I can support you with that journey. You know, what should your CV look like? What's the perfect UK CV? Interview preparation, who is recruiting? What do they need? What are they looking out for? What are the changes? How should you apply? When should you apply? When should you move? You know, making sure that you've got that tailored, you know, support that you need. So if you check the about section of this YouTube channel or the description box below, you're going to see a link to my private coaching program. Once you join, then I can support you with that journey. You also have courses on career progression. How do you progress? What do you need? What are the pathways available? How do you study in the UK for free, fully funded, without having to spend a lot of money? You know, people are paying as high as £17,000 per year on average to study. But there are pathways that you can study for free, which if you don't know, you're going to spend a lot of money. So again, if you join my private coaching program, I support you with all of that. So, you know, if you're watching this video, obviously, you know anybody who can benefit from this, please do share with them so that they can get in contact with me and we get started ASAP to make sure they are supported to achieve their goals in this beautiful country and to make the most of the opportunities that are available. So let's go back to our charity worker visa. The best thing I like about this visa is that you can apply obviously from within the UK or outside of the UK. So when you're applying out of the UK, you're going to get a decision within 3 weeks, which is amazing. And also you need to have obviously an organization to sponsor you. And look, let me tell you, it is very easy, because if you go online right now as we speak and have a look, you're going to see so many organizations that are currently looking for people to offer these charity worker visas to. And I'm going to tell you, you need your passport. If you have got your passport, I want you to leave a comment in the comment section below right now and say, Melvis, I've got my passport. Because if you're wanting to travel to another country, it doesn't matter which country it is, or you're already in the UK, having a valid international passport is the single most important thing that you can do. Even though it seems like the most basic thing, but there are many people that are wanting to travel, but they haven't got a passport. So leave a comment in the comment section and say, Melvis, I have got my international passport ready. And also tell me, what pathway are you considering, so that if there's any advice I can give you, any extra information that you need, I can drop that in the comment section as well, just to help you with that process and with that journey. Because I know how it can be difficult sometimes to get reliable information that you need and deserve. So leave that in the comment section below. So obviously you're going to pay visa fees once you've got that UK sponsor. Obviously they'll give you that certificate of sponsorship. You need to pay visa fees. So the visa fees is just over £200, you know, for the visa. So it's not really bad. It's one of the most affordable visas that the UK has. And then you also need your TB certificate. So if you're somebody from that zone, you know, that needs has a high incidence of TB, then you need to have a TB certificate, obviously, to do that. If your documents are not in English, say you're from a French-speaking country, then obviously you need to translate them to English. So again, you need to be aware of that, like for all UK visas anyway. You also need to pay the healthcare surcharge, you know, for yourself, which is something that, you know, was introduced a few years ago, and you need to pay for most of the visas, you know, anyway. So you will have to pay that. Like I say, Ielts is not a requirement for this particular visa. So you don't need to have Ielts. If you do have Ielts already, that's fine, fair enough. You may have had it from another pathway. But if you're only focusing on the charity worker visa, Ielts is not a requirement. A degree, experience, you don't need any of that. And like I said, there are so many UK companies that are currently looking for charity workers to move to the UK. All you need to do is just use the good old Google, write it there, and look, all of it is going to come out if you're obviously interested, you know, in this particular pathway. So obviously, ideally you want to be over 18, as with most visas anyway, if you're the main applicant. One advantage that this visa has, which I really like, is that you can come with your dependents. So if you are a married person and you've got your kids, you've got your husband, you've got your wife, you can bring them to the UK on this particular visa. So that's you know, a massive advantage that it has that some other types of visas obviously don't give you that opportunity to move with your family. So that's a really good thing. But again, I'm going to tell you one thing that it's kind of like that I don't particularly like about this particular visa, or should I say the biggest disadvantage that this visa has compared to the other sorts of UK visas that we are generally more familiar with. So and by the way, you don't need to be like a religious person, you know, to get involved in charity. Charity just means that you're trying to offer your services for the good of other people or animals. You know, it could be any type of charity. Charity doesn't mean human beings, but there are many charities that are looking at, you know, climate change. If you want to move, for example, really quickly, the best charities that you can kind of focus on are those ones that deal with like climate change. There's a lot of money invested, you know, on climate change because they're all talking about global warming, you know, how the world is, you know, pollution and all of that. So there's a lot of government funding there, which means that many organizations are looking for overseas people to sponsor, also to come to the UK on that particular pathway. And by the way, you know, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to the channel, you do want to hit subscribe, turn on that notification button so you're the first to be notified every time when I drop a new video on here. Also, if you haven't joined the newsletter, check the comment section below, and once you join, I can send that info directly to your inbox so you never miss out on any vital information such as this. If you've got any comments, please do leave them in the comment section below or send directly through the newsletter. If it's something private and you're thinking, Melvis, I'm thinking about this, but I just don't want to leave it here on YouTube, I understand that. So again, you can use that and send to me. But if you need that personalized, that tailored and that individualized support, say with CV, you know, how do you go about it, what are your personal circumstances and all of that, then consider joining my private coaching program where you can get that support, whether you're still out of the UK, looking for the best pathway to move here, or you're already in the UK, trying to get through with career progression or switching your visa to a different type of visa. So you're going to get that support that is needed. And I offer that through my private coaching program. So again, obviously you can move with your family. Obviously, one of the requirements also, I don't know if I've mentioned it, is the fact that you need to have proof of funds. So you need to have £1,259, obviously, in your account. It needs to be there for at least, 28 days as usual. It's a rule for most of the visas. At least 28 days before the day you're actually making your application. So you do need to have those funds on there, to show that, obviously, you're able to support yourself once you move to the UK. One advantage that this visa also has is that you can work extra shifts when you move to the UK. This is something that is massive. This is something that, some other visas don't also have. But as a charity worker, you can work 20 hours. You're limited to obviously 20 hours extra per week, over in the same sector, which means that if you're a charity worker, say, I don't know, for climate change or whatever, you need to be working 20 hours extra within the same code, obviously, for the company that has sponsored you. So again, if you're applying for charity worker visa, you need to be really smart. Check out other opportunities within that same sector before applying for jobs, to a particular organization, because it's going to also influence what extra shift you can do when you move to the UK, if you want to do them anyway, because obviously it's not everybody that does extra shifts. But I mean, if you're thinking about them, then you can as well preempt, your plans and make sure that as you're trying to switch through this visa or apply for this visa, you already know and you've got everything sorted. Because look, I did something that if you're part of my private coaching program, you know what I'm talking about. You need to plan in advance. If you really want to succeed and thrive in the UK, you don't want to move here without a plan and then be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to start planning when I get to the UK, because no, the earlier you can start planning, the better, because there are certain decisions that you need to make beforehand, so that when you get here, you're already 10 steps ahead of everyone else. Otherwise, it's going to be very challenging, taking time to settle, to find out what you need. You're going to be busy. Everyone's busy. Nobody's got time. It is very hard once you're here. When you're still out of the UK, you may not understand this, but you've got more time to find out what you need and be able to plan better than waiting until you get here, where everybody's rushing around, helter-skelter, and nobody's got time to really sit and explain things to you. And that's why I dedicate a lot of my time through my private coaching program, supporting with all these pathways in the UK, because the members find that even they themselves are very busy. No, people may want to support you, but they just don't have the time. So you need to be aware of that. So make the most of it, time, when you're out of the UK, because the truth is that people out of the UK have a lot more time than when they actually move to the UK. You're going to see that. If you're already in the UK right now, you know what I mean. If you've got any comments regarding this, do feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you're still out of the UK, have you got any questions right now? What would you like to know before you move here? Again, leave that in the comment section, because that's why I dedicate time to doing these videos, so that I can inform you of things. Hopefully, by the time you get here, you're already, like I said, 10 steps ahead of everyone else. And then it makes that progression in the UK a lot easier, a lot simpler, and a lot faster, because you don't want to waste any time. You don't want to waste any time once you get to the UK. So that's what we've said. Another thing also, another advantage that this visa has is that you can study in the UK. So there are certain courses that if you do want to study, you need authorization to do so. But there are many other courses that you don't need any special authorization to take on those courses, which again is a massive advantage that this visa has that some other visas do not have. Again, we're still talking about the charity worker visa, and all of that. So you can bring your family. You need proof of funds, obviously. There are many, I've done lots of videos here explaining different ways that you can go about getting proof of funds from your employer if this is something that you don't have. Because look, having 1,200 and something pounds in your account is something that can be a massive challenge for many people who are still out of the UK. But there are ways that you can go around these and move to the UK without proof of funds. Again, if you want me to do a full video on this alone, leave a comment in the comment section and I'll do a video on how you can move to the UK using any visa but having no proof of funds whatsoever. Again, this is something that I teach in my private coaching program to my members, to make sure that they're not struggling and that they are making the most of all the pathways that the UK government has provided to support immigrants that are already in the UK or that are about moving to the UK. Because if you don't know this information, you're going to be struggling, maybe taking loans or going through other things that you may not necessarily need to go through. So again, like I've said, if you're interested, do feel free to leave a comment in the comment section and I'll do that video on here so that if people are interested in it, then obviously you can help more people as well. So you can bring your family. You can study in the UK, certain courses, you don't need authorization. For some, you do need authorization. You also can work extra hours, maximum of 20 hours per week within the same sector. Again, if you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I'll be able to join you there and answer those questions. But one disadvantage or one drawback that this visa has is that you can only be in the UK. This visa is normally for a year. So this visa is given for 1 year. It's not like other work visas that you can have for either 3 years at a time or 5 years. And that's why I say that healthcare currently remains the best pathway to move to the UK. But charity worker visa is an alternative depending on your personal circumstances. Obviously, depending on where you live, depending on what you do, depending on what your objectives are as well. Because not everybody that wants to stay in the UK permanently. I've seen people who are like, hey, Melvis, the UK is just not for me, for whatever reason. Or maybe they're very wealthy back home. They've got businesses, and all of that. So you need to assess your own situation and decide what is best for you. That's what I'm trying to say. So again, you have it for 1 year. You can bring your family with you. Absolutely fine. The more dependents you have, obviously, the more proof of funds you need, the more visa fees you need, because all of that is per person. So again, you need to be aware of the cost and also the fact that even though you can work extra shifts, but you're also limited to how many you can do. So again, those are all things that you need to ask yourself. Is this the pathway that is best for me? Is this what I want to do? Is this, yes, it may be the easiest pathway for you to take compared to the challenges, obviously, that arise with getting those healthcare jobs. Say, for example, carer jobs, non-clinical healthcare jobs, construction worker jobs, obviously, builders, construction workers, like I've said, they have all been added to the shortage occupation list. Do you want to be persistent, get jobs within those sectors? It's going to take you longer than the charity worker visa. Or do you want to move to the UK as a charity worker and then have all the things that we've said to then begin to sort yourself out when you're in the UK? It's really up to you again. But all I can do is bring you the different pathways so that you can make your own informed choices and decisions. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you do want to hit subscribe, turn on that notification button so you're the first to be notified every single time when I drop a new video on here. Also, If you like the video, then I know that you like content like this and I should do more. If you know any friends that can benefit from this info, please do share with them so that they know that this is a type of visa that they can also use. Like I say, everybody's circumstances are different. Different visas work best for different people. So, you know, it is what it is. But if you need that tailored, individualized, and that personalized support, consider joining my private coaching program where I can support you with what are the best pathways for your personal circumstances, what are your qualifications, what should you do, how do you apply, who is recruiting, where do you apply, you know, how do you move to the UK without proof of funds. If you're wanting to study, what are the best courses to study, the best universities for you to go to, the best places to live in the UK. Again, I've done lots of videos highlighting some of these things, but like I say, YouTube is a great source of information, but it is very generic. Having that tailored, you know, advice for yourself is ultimately what is going to help. Having, you know, that implementation plan, knowing that, okay, now this is what I'm doing, and then next week, this is what I'm going to work on next, this is what I'm going to do next. That is what really makes a difference. It's not about just listening to information or hearing information. I want you to focus on implementing as well, taking those, you know, meaningful steps, being, you know, taking that action in a very meaningful way and in a very intentional way, knowing that this is what you're doing, rather than just being like, okay, you will apply and then 2 years come by and you're still in the same position, having done absolutely nothing. Because I'm here to help you, bring you those opportunities, you know, how you can move to the UK, switch your visa, most importantly, career progression, to progress, to succeed, to excel. I've done videos about all sorts of pathways to move to the UK, all sorts of opportunities, work from home jobs, side hustle ideas. So please do check the channel and consider sharing with your colleagues, friends, loved ones, family, who can also benefit from this information. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching till this moment. And I do wish you a very beautiful day. And I look forward to interacting with you through that newsletter or through my private coaching program. Keep watching the videos.